Salutations, everyone. It is Maddie here today with episode 93 of the H.A.M Radio Podcast.
And I am here, Karak with ACG.
Yeah, and we are joined by a lovely patron guest. Would you kindly introduce yourself?
My name is Lee, and just a big fan.
Just a big fan.
Just a big fan.
Do anything else, bro?
No, man. Just a big fan.
All right, man. Cool. So we got a lot to talk about today. As always, if you guys want to get involved with the podcast, you should check out the Patreon. You can get early access on Fridays on SoundCloud, as well as become a potential guest on the show. Anyway.
Such as me.
Yeah, just like Lee. And you're having a great time so far, aren't you? So.
Brilliant.
Let's talk about, like you said, Karak, yesterday, as we're recording this on Friday, every game developer, publisher just woke up and said, let's fucking announce stuff. So, let's start off with what I think was the biggest announcement, which is that Square Enix and Marvel are teaming up to make new superhero games. And, Marvel's making some big moves when you view it as a whole. Right. You got Guardians of the Galaxy by Telltale. You got Spider-Man by Insomniac. Now you got Square Enix in it. There's one more I'm forgetting right now. But they're like restructuring their AAA game development and taking it to a whole new level, it seems. Or they're at least trying, instead of saying, oh, Activision, sup, buddy, you just want to make some quick shit? I'm glad they're really taking it seriously, though. That's really important. I think they learned from the success of the Arkham series, regardless of how it concluded, that good video games really do pay dividends to the rest of the entertainment properties it's involved with.
Well, yeah, and if you look at like how they're doing it, it is a restart. We talked about this earlier, but before the podcast started recording. It is pretty much a restructuring of a lot of what's going on with all these teams. There's the rumors that, Deus Ex, that's sort of being put on hold, stuff like that. But if you can't really make these changes and these adjustments and do all this stuff without looking at just how popular superhero movies and all that kind of stuff is. So they're going to put as many people as they can on it. And it's going to unfortunately take some people from teams that I think a lot of us we're maybe hoping we're going to be working on some of the titles we wanted. But I have a feeling we'll see, especially the developers I'm talking to, there's a little bit of rub from a couple of them because they've been moved. So we'll have to see how that works out. But it's massive. I mean, that is a massive announcement, especially to just come out of the blue.
Yeah.
And I think don't you think it was weird when they said basically don't expect any other news until like 2018?
Yeah, they just straight up.
I didn't see that bit. I didn't see that.
It was the way they worded it. They were just like, yeah, this is the Avengers project. We're doing superhero games now. Here's the thing: is that we were also talking about this earlier. Is that within the newsletter sent out to like press and YouTubers and whatever, that they hit it like deep within the email that this is not just like Square Enix. It's literally their developers. Everyone. So Eidos Montreal, who works on the Deus Ex series. It was Crystal Dynamics as well. Like these are fucking developers working on mainstay franchises.
Top tier games.
Yeah, I mean. I think it kind of makes sense that you're going to move Crystal Dynamics to a superhero game. Why do I say that? Well, Tomb Raider, or Rise of the Tomb Raider, sold horribly. It did. On every console it launched on. So I think they're viewing it as a business decision that, okay, yes, there's probably more to Lara's story. I didn't beat Rise of the Tomb Raider, I'll be honest.
But I haven't, but... I mean, the game was good.
Yeah,
but, yeah
I like the game a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have no
horrible window.
Yeah, they've launched on the same day as Fallout 4. That was suicide.
They Titanfall 2'd it.
Yeah, they really did. They literally sent it to its fucking grave, dead on arrival. And I think they realized the error of their ways, although it was quite apparent on the day of. But yeah, I think that's a big reason why you're going to see Crystal Dynamics making superhero games. But that's just weird to say. I mean, what kind of superhero games can you see these teams making? I mean, the Avengers project, I thought instantly when I saw that, I thought of like Marvel Ultimate Alliance, like this superhero team up over the top Diablo style game. But when I think Square Enix, I think RPG. So it's like, I don't even, I usually have a picture of a game in my head, but I want some help here. I can't formulate shit right now.
I mean, the thing is, they've got so many avenues they could go down with a superhero game. You've got, any form of genre really with it. I personally think you can make a bloody card game out of it if you really want, but obviously I don't personally want.
I hope they're that's the thing is I never considered that for a second. I was like, what if they're doing just mobile games? But when you see Crystal Dynamics at Eidos, you're like, okay, they're
Dude, do you know, I mean, if you think about it, we talked about this in my podcast earlier. It's like, you know, you have everything. You have different Punisher style games that could fit in a Tomb Raider style, you know, control schemes. You have, especially if you're grabbing people from particular developers, anybody who moves around, especially when you get to publisher level, you do have to look at who has expertise in what engines and who has expertise in what type of games and move them around. So I think by looking at who's moving where, which we'll find out in the coming months, you'll be able to pretty quickly, especially if you're good. I have a couple of friends who work for me who do LinkedIn, and they check LinkedIn for where people move, and they can usually identify what's happening. We'll probably get a good idea. But I honestly, just like Lee said, I think you're going to see multiple genres. Like, I mean, it would not surprise me if we see a Marvel Alliance kind of thing. We also know that Heroes is very popular on the PC. Isn't it Marvel Heroes, the Diablo style?
Yeah, MOBA, I think it is. It's like, I think that's what it is.
No, there's not a MOBA. There's
my friend plays one on the iPhone.
I play it. It's like Diablo. I can't remember the name.
I thought that was Ultimate Alliance.
Marvel Heroes.
Okay.
And it's like Diablo. So you've got that, and it's massive. But I do believe that we'll see a Tomb Raider style, like third person, you know, a huge thing. And one of the guys on the podcast was like, do you know what would be great is if you took a GTA style 3 characters? Because if you do more than 3, it starts feeling weird. But if you did like 2 or 3 main characters and you had a game like almost like Spider-Man is looking to be,
oh shit,
then you could do some insane stuff. Because that's the thing. These developers look like every developer I talk to, when I mention Spider-Man, you see their eyes light up. And it's not only because they want Spider-Man, it's because they watch the PR and they're like, okay, everybody is looking at this game as being awesome. What can we do? Like, so people are ready for this. And then they move that direction as well. So also, I wouldn't doubt if they have a lot of prototypes where they're going to be working for a while trying to figure out what they should make too. Like, what engine do we use?
Yeah, do you think they announced it too soon? Do you think, I mean, it didn't seem like they had much ready. Right?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
I would say they announced it too soon.
Yeah.
I mean, it's for us, but I mean, they wanted it out there for some reason. They probably were worried it was going to get leaked.
An EA, and that's true, a leak. That's true. You want to avoid that. I just view it as an EA announcement where it's going to be like, okay, next year we're going to see like a concept trailer, you know, just like untextured models and shit like that.
Right.
You know, I think of like Battlefront, for example. They do that EA so much that I'm afraid that's what they'll do with Square Enix. Or it'll just be like a 3 or 4 year process, which I'm fine with in game development. But it's when you know about it, you know what's going on the whole time. You're just like, come on, get the game out already. But
yep.
I mean, I'm excited about this because for me, I instantly think of Spider-Man and Insomniac, and I think that's just a perfect match. Like, it's one of those things where I didn't realize how badly that series needed Insomniac until they matched those two together. So you can see they're really studying the companies that they're associating these titles with. Like, Telltale telling a Guardians of the Galaxy story really does make sense. And so it's like, when you look at how Marvel's studying them, I think that's another way we can deduce what types of games to expect. So if you look at Crystal Dynamics, yeah, we should expect like a big epic adventure title. But it's like, what, you know, it's called the Avengers Project, so it's like, what hero would be under that? Maybe they're calling it the Avengers Project because each game is for a specific hero within the Avengers. It's not just about the Avengers movie itself, where it's like a group of them in the game. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. I mean, that's another idea that's come to mind. But, oh man, a Captain America game by Crystal Dynamics. I'm feeling that a little bit. I think that's a good one. I think I hit the nail on the head there. That's gonna be my prediction going forth. Crystal Dynamics, Captain America. I could see that because he's a grounded enough superhero. He's not like someone who fucking flies around and shit. Where he could be very Tomb Raider-esque, if that makes any sense, with his movement and climbing the side of mountains and shit and doing superhuman stuff.
Right.
That would make more sense for Captain America rather than Lara Croft.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just, I can't wait. I mean, I'm not actually a huge superhero fan.
Really? Tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, well, I just
say what?
I mean, I don't find them very. Some of the movies are enjoyable, some are not. So,
well, ones don't
I'm
like,
not.
Then I'm curious about that because that's always
I was
a polarizing.
not a huge fan of Civil War.
Okay.
Civil War is pretty slow to me. But it wasn't. When I say not a huge fan, it doesn't mean I dislike them. It just means I wasn't a huge fan. Like, I'm not one of those type of people that's like, oh. Strangely enough, like, I grew up, my brother liked Thor, and I thought it was the stupidest superhero Like, I was like, this is the dumbest thing. And then in the movies, actually, I sort of like the Thor movies because they're stupid and they're just over the top.
They're not stupid.
And I like Hellboy style stuff, like a little bit more of the spiritual kind of thing. So those are great. I liked the new one with Cumberbatch.
Doctor Strange. See, I haven't
Doctor
seen
Strange.
that. I still haven't seen that.
I thought it was unique. So what I mean by not being a super fan is that I'm more interested in it because I want to see this Tomb Raider expertise be used in something that's going to sell well.
Yeah.
Because I know those developers and I know that they want a paycheck and that they want people to like. And I will say one thing. We just talked to somebody and it's in an interview where he says the worst feeling in the world is creating something critically loved that sells very poorly. And
yeah, that's got to be.
That's
got to be rough.
Yeah,
that's got to be rough to have somebody be like, "Hey, man, Tomb Raider's great," and he's like, "We sold 10 copies today." So I want to see these guys have success, and I'm stoked for it. I think Square's a great. I mean, talk about that's a pretty good company to like.
No, that's a great company to
this.
associate Marvel games with. But here's the thing: is I wonder if that's because in comparison, we look at all the Activision titles, right? I mean, obviously, I like Square Enix, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, when I view it, it's more so like, oh, awesome, Square is working on Marvel titles. But it's like, oh, it's more so, fuck yes, Activision's gone from those titles. That's how I view it, because I can't stand the way they fucking suck these companies dry. And I'm glad you're seeing studios realize this and be like, yo, these like this Activision's just a bunch of assholes. Like, they just want money. They don't care about the product that's being made. Obviously, don't get me wrong, Square Enix wants money too. I think that's a big reason why you're going to see them move Crystal Dynamics off of Tomb Raider and onto a superhero project, because that's something that'll actually make them money. I don't think Tomb Raider's made them much. Maybe the first one did. I haven't verified that, but definitely the sequel did not make them a fucking penny. They probably lost so much on that. So they needed to make a move that would bring them in a ton of revenue. And I mean, superhero games is a sure shot, especially if you do them well.
Right.
Yeah, it's a shame because, I mean, the what was the last one called? Tomb Raider.
Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah. See, I thought that was amazing. And then
I liked it a lot.
Rise of the Tomb Raider was equally good. I never got around to finishing it. But yeah, I think I'm not sure if that got critically reviewed well and whatnot.
From
but
what I remember, it did. The first one I played and beat, and I did not. I'll be honest, I did not like it. Because it was such a grounded human story, and I really liked that. And then it like took a giant supernatural turn. I was like, this sucks. I was like, I can't stand that.
Are you talking about Rise or the one?
The first one.
Yeah, Rise.
I felt the same way.
Yeah, I was like, I was so into it. I loved how they built the world and stuff. And then, like I said, it took a supernatural turn, and it kind of reminded me of Uncharted. My favorite Uncharted is the first one, because I thought that was, although funny enough, the ending for that one's much more of a supernatural thing. But that's how I felt with that series in some ways. Was that it would take like a supernatural turn. I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, this was so realistic and believable until now. It just feels like a contradiction. Like, they ran out of ideas and said, this happens. Anyway, personal opinions aside, though, I like the changes Marvel is doing. I wonder how DC is going to respond, though. Because really, when you look at it, they only have Rocksteady, right? Rocksteady and NetherRealm.
Let's make sure we understand what that means. We only have Rocksteady is sort of like saying you only have Mike Tyson in his prime during a fight. So, I mean, just let's be honest. I mean, I'm not even a huge I love their games.
Yeah, I realize I completely minimized it.
We only have.
Yeah.
That's funny sounding.
No, you're right. I'm just thinking in terms of quantity. Obviously, you want quality,
for sure.
But in the terms of quantity, they'll get out one or two good superhero games, possibly at the rate of Marvel, who now has 4 good developers.
For obviously a while, you had obviously the Batman trilogy, as in the films, that were great, but then you never. I mean, obviously you had the Arkham Knight series as well. I mean, well, you know what I mean. So I guess they'll at least try and respond, and at least they probably won't say anything for a while, but they've got to keep up and at least bring something else out, because I like the look of Injustice, but for me, it's I get a bit bored of just one-on-one fighting, beating up games.
You're not a fighter game fan. No, you're not alone on that.
Yeah, I mean, I like them, but I wouldn't go out and pay, full price for it just because I'd play it for a while and then people would kick my ass online and I'd turn off in rage.
See, for me, it's a sure as a comparison I could draw, but I just go ridiculously hard in them. I get good at like one fighter, I dominate online, and then I just stop. I'm like, okay, I have accomplished all I set out to do here. Goodbye. That's it.
The thing is, though, I mean, what does DC have? So they've got Batman.
Yeah, they got Batman, from which I'd imagine they could be moving to a Batman Nightmare series with the secret ending for Arkham Knight, or they could be moving on to Justice League. They could be moving on to a lot of things in Rocksteady. And then you got NetherRealm, who's doing the Injustice series on and off with Mortal Kombat, which is a large gap in its own right. Not that these games coming from Marvel are going to be just out in a snap. Like Square Enix likely just started on their Avengers project. So, that'll be many years down the line. I think it'll be very reminiscent of EA, Visceral, and Star Wars, where it's just they announced it so far in advance, and it's like everyone wants to know, but probably this will be the first year we see that from Visceral. But anyway, it's like I can't think of many things DC does have. The only hero from their superhero category that received some sort of justice was Batman when it came to video games, rather. So I struggle to really. I mean, that's the thing though, is that anything can happen. Square Enix and Marvel, like who would have thought? So they could really team up with anyone who has the talent. But that's the other question I have, is now that these developers are getting wrapped up, would they actually be able to like balance out and work on a like a DC game by chance? Because it's just Square Enix. They're video game developers, for example. I'm not minimizing that, but I'm just saying that. Couldn't they just lease their services as well to DC, or do you think it's just like they are strictly under the Marvel thumb now?
I would assume that that's locked down in a contract. Yeah,
I'd say so too. I figure I'd toss it out there.
That'd be cool though to have.
They're
doing a DC game and a Marvel game.
They're just bouncing between both. Like, we do what the fuck we want. Who cares?
In all honesty, if I were DC and I'm just like pretending like I had a ton of cash and I ran the world, the thing is those Batman games are good, right? And they are. There's the rumor about the Damian Batman title that was supposedly being worked on, but there was also a rumor about a Justice League game. Here's the thing: if DC wants or feels like they can compete, then what they need to do, first of all, Batman will continue to sell well if it's good, and so like I don't see an issue with saying we're doing more Batman games because they're good and they work. But a huge Justice League game handled well could be phenomenal, and I think that it's time. No one's going to agree with me, but I'm just going to say it. I really want a superhero game like Batman where I create the hero, and there's a reason why. Because like I like some of DC's a little bit more grounded characters anyway, and DC Online had a pretty good character creation system. That's the online game. So do I. And I would love imagine, and this is just me, but imagine Rocksteady saying we're creating blah blah blah, and it's you in a city doing these, and you can choose certain powers, and it's but I'm saying not online, but like a full.
Maybe you can be the villain.
Or this villain thing keeps popping up.
That'd be cool
every
though.
Podcast, yeah.
It would. Cool though.
It would. But yeah, I would if they want to. They can't compete, I don't think, just by saying we have another game. But if they do something different, you can be the hero. Or if they do something different, Justice League's huge. So Justice League would be, I think that would be a legitimate competitor for sure.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. I mean, I don't really pick when I break it down. I don't really necessarily go like, oh, I am all Marvel or I am all DC, because it's really just specific heroes from each of them. Like for me, I would say if I had to lean towards one, probably Marvel, just because I fucking Spider-Man's my favorite hero out of everyone.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I definitely agree with the fact that DC's heroes are a lot more grounded. They're a lot darker for sure. I think Marvel's tried to take a little bit of the darker route with their movies lately, but it's hard to really match that DC vigor and that almost gothic feel it has at times. It's just heavy.
Especially some of their, like their anime movies, like
right,
yeah, the
slicing
Red
faces
Hood.
off and
Red Hood,
shit.
That was some intense stuff. Their animated movies are really powerful. I think of that, but once again, it's like Batman. I just think of Batman right away.
Yeah.
They need to do other superheroes justice. They really do. That is how I think DC finds a way to succeed out of all of this. And that's obviously way easier said than done. But the issue is like they have heroes like Superman who does everything. He doesn't, I'm not saying he doesn't have a weakness, but I'm just saying like to build a game around Superman.
Right. Well, it'd be like building one around Thor. It's pretty hard.
Or have it or a level 100 Skyrim character.
Yeah. You have to have I'd say a fully destructible open world.
Right.
A world big enough to handle the believable speed of Superman. Powers that feel different from each other. Like, your ice beams can do some specific things that engage with the world. Same thing with his heat vision.
Wait, sorry. Why do I remember a Superman game on Xbox 360 actually being good? I think it was one of the first games.
You might remember.
And I personally remember it being good, but I was probably about 14. I can't remember.
There wasn't a superhero, or there wasn't a Superman only game, but the Avengers, not the Avengers. I'm sorry. There was a couple Gauntlet style games where you could be different superheroes.
Justice League. Yep, I played that on my PSP.
That.
Those were good.
I'm googling this shit.
Yeah, look at that Superman game.
N64 had the last Superman I know. Oh man, it was digital herpes. It was the only game that the moment you play it, everybody knew. You'd show up at a party, people would be like, "Yeah, you just got done with Superman 64."
Yeah,
be like, "Yeah, how do you know?"
For me, I remember growing up, I didn't like many DC superhero games, but there was one, and it was not a good one, really, when I think about it, but I loved it so much. Did anyone here ever play Batman Vengeance?
Mm-hmm.
I fucking love that game, man. There's just something about the sound effects when Batman fights. Like, when he throws a punch, it sounds like he's, fucking cutting the air. It's like... It's just, really
sorry,
it
was funny enough, it was an EA game. It was called Superman Returns.
Jeez, I never even heard
Warner
of that
Brothers.
game. Was it good? Did it rate well?
Yeah.
Wait,
let's look up some Metacritic.
Metacritic. 51%. So,
well,
man.
I was probably just, because it initial release 2006. So yeah, I was 15.
Wow.
It
was
good call on that.
Yeah, maybe it was okay back then, but. Yeah, looking at the pictures,
no.
Maybe
here's another Marvel hero that has had some justice is Hulk. He's had some great video games.
That game was awesome.
Yeah,
fucking big ass bloody fists out of cars, and that was good.
Yeah, they had some fucking incredible Hulk games. Pardon the pun, but they really did. I mean, I forgot about that almost. Have they tried Green Lantern? I think they have. Probably garbage. I think Green Lantern sucks. He's that awkward kid in the corner. I don't like Green Lantern. He's just not a hero I'm a fan of.
So he was apparently unhireable after he did that film. What's his name?
Really?
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. That's it. Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, he said apparently he was.
Wait, didn't he do Deadpool? Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, he obviously done him justice doing that, but that's I'll read it somewhere.
I've seen a lot of bad movies in my life. That was nowhere near the worst movie. I mean, I didn't think it wasn't a great movie, but holy shit! Watch Howard the Duck and then come back and talk about it. When you have Leah Thompson joking about having sex with a duck in a superhero movie, shit has gone wrong. I'm telling you, that's a bad superhero movie. Green Hornet was another one that everybody dissed on, and I watched, and I was like, whatever. I mean, you hear that a lot of times where people think they're terrible, and you watch them, and you're like, yeah, just wasn't.
I've seen worse.
What about the Iron Man games? Were those good or bad?
I didn't like them. I know one of them did okay, but
yeah. So I mean, I'm just trying to spitball all these heroes that are coming to mind as potential games for this Avengers project, because I'm just trying to think of now Avengers in general. What was it? Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Spider-Man, Wolverine? Was he under the Avengers? I can't remember.
Well, here's the thing that I think that we might see. So we're talking more back on Marvel. Is that what you're saying, Maddie?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just bouncing all over the place.
That's right. The one thing is that usually a developer, when they're creating, will usually go and look at what's popular genre-wise too. So third person, first person, blah blah blah. So Gauntlet style isn't as popular as they used to be. So the Alliance games that were on the 360, those aren't as popular. So you're looking at third person, and then once you start looking at that, then you have to identify like what fits. Because some characters just don't. Like, Superman, it could fit, but I think a lot of times a developer might look at Superman and go, listen, we have to jump through a bunch of hoops to try to figure out how it's playable. Why do Superman when we can do somebody who's a little less powerful and we can fit them in our game world without creating new tech? Just like you said, it would need to be Agent 3 for the Xbox One in its fully destructible world just to have Superman make sense in it. I think that if they're smart, honestly, a 3-person like GTA style where you could switch between three or you did maybe even not live switching, but it told their story. What if you write a new comic series where the major comic book characters have disappeared, and so you have a Jessica Jones style situation where you're 3 of the slightly lower tier, still better than Hawkeye for Christ's sakes, but you've got 3 lower tier characters where you're playing them in a Tomb Raider style third person. There's a lot of stuff that they can do, and that's not including, of course, that no one's done a first person superhero game. I mean, I wouldn't put it past somebody to be like, let's try that. I don't know if I would want that. I'm just saying there's a chance somebody's Punisher.
That wouldn't be bad. I mean, I view it like a Wolverine game in first person. Like, imagine that with VR. You're like using like the handles and like you see your claws and you're like fucking picking someone up and putting it inside them.
Catalyst handled the movement well, because you have that movement. Where you could...
sorry, Matt.
No, go for it.
Didn't you preview? Did you do the Batman game in VR?
I did. Batman Arkham
VR.
Well,
yeah. See, obviously, same kind of thing. You could do that with another superhero, but I don't know which one would work because Superman would be a bit too intense, I think.
You just be like, what the fuck? Where am I?
Get your ginger gum ready because you're going to be chewing that and Dramamine. Yeah, that's a good point though. There's some different. We're thinking, of course, just on like a console or something, but you could do a PSVR style stuff. I just think it's probably going to be massive, whatever they do, and that third person right now is the. I don't know how to describe it. It's the engine that seems that everybody wants to go with.
Yeah, that or I mean, you could look at the change like Resident Evil going from third to first person, for example.
Yeah.
And but that's for its own genre where you've seen like Outlast first person. But then the Evil Within, that was third person. I mean, I don't know. I just rather them just go with what they feel would make the game better.
Me too.
Not with what the genre that's popular is. But anyway, that's enough chat about the Square Enix and Marvel team up. How about we move on to the slew of other information we have to talk about? Let's start off with the Pillars of Eternity 2 announcement. That was teased for about a week from Obsidian. So, Karak, you've played.
Oh, it's Fallout.
Yeah, people are like, it's Fallout. I'm like, you're not thinking right.
Pillars, it already hit 100% of its funding. It hit 100% in less than 24 hours. It's more like, 18. Pillars and Tyranny are 2 of my favorite games. And Pillars 2 just looks, it already looks better. One of the nice things about Pillars and Pillars 2, I like that 3 isometric, style party game. I've always been a fan of that. And Pillars 1 looked good, but Pillars 2, they already showed a couple of GIFs and a couple little movie bits, and the 3D background elements and the water. Oh, dude. Like, it's almost...
That's some really interesting kind of like watercolor art style in the first one. And so seeing it again looks really interesting. It looks great.
Oh, it does. I can't wait. And Lee, did you say you had played either one of the? Have you played Pillars?
No, I haven't, mate. No, I've not had I've not had a working gaming PC since the last game I actually fully played was like Command and Conquer.
Wow.
One of those. Wow. They were great.
That's far
awesome.
back.
It's awesome.
Sorry, man.
I expected them with that announcement to somehow do kind of like what Divinity Original Sin did, which was, hey, we're coming to consoles too, just kind of spreading their wings a little bit. bringing it to as many people as possible. But it's obvious that Obsidian is strapped for cash. I mean, that's another crowdfunded project, right? Yeah, I mean, that's pretty crazy stuff in my opinion. I'm not surprised, but they're doing what they want, which I'm happy about. And people love their games.
You know Obsidian more than me. Haven't they hinted a couple times they wanted to be bought out?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Haven't they?
Yeah.
So Warner Brothers, which we'll talk about later, Warner Brothers is looking for developers. My hope is that they do, because I don't know about you guys, but I swear to God, Obsidian continually feels like that little child with one meal between them and the grave. Like, if they don't get it in the form of a payment, then they're screwed. And I think that they do well, but critically, they're not always doing super well. It depends on the title and stuff. But I wish they would get picked up by somebody, because Christ, it's just getting tiring always wondering if we're going to wake up and they're going to be bankrupt.
Maybe DC. Ooh.
Oh my God.
Well, I was going to say, holy shit.
That would be awesome.
Obsidian DC superhero RPG.
Dude. See, that's what I'm talking about. Imagine
isometric
how
DC
cool
RPG.
It wouldn't even have to be isometric. Imagine if it was like a Fallout where you could do first and third person, and because it's Obsidian, they know they're writing.
Because I feel like that costs too much.
Come on, man.
No, I think he was saying with DC. If DC's footing the bill.
Oh, DC's footing the bill. Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah, so they just fund them, give them the money for the money.
Sorry, I misunderstood.
No, that's right. But anyway, back to Pillars. It looks awesome. It's already succeeded in its fucking funding, which now we're getting crowdfunding so odd now. It's like they announce and why call it crowdfunding? Like, why even put a limit? Because you already know they're going to hit it. Like, it's this odd moment. But yeah, it looks fantastic. And dude, Pillars is a great game. If anybody has not checked out Pillars, that is a phenomenal title.
How long does it take to get through it? Because I do have it installed, and it's from the Steam sale last year, and I'm yet to get to it.
Well, you know how I always talk, like, I hate talking about difficulty because a person might play it on easy. Like, but you're looking at minimum, it depends on how you play, but 25 to 35 hours. And then it sort of meanders depending on extra stuff, difficulties you choose, and so forth. So, and probably faster if somebody is really good, like, or knows the story.
Because that game looks really good. I really want to play it. It's just about, like, I mean, I'm almost already excited for summer to play that on the backlog. What else did I want to play that I added to the backlog recently? Oh, Tales of Zestiria, so I could play Berseria. Mm-hmm. Those are two games on the backlog. I mean, fuck. It just keeps adding up. I've realized the backlog is literally never ending. There's always going to be something there that you're like,
yeah,
there will.
It's an add-on to your video, it's getting ridiculous.
Well, Lee, when you... I was just going to ask Lee real quick. You haven't played any of these, and you don't have a playable PC. Is that what you're saying?
No, this is what I mean. So I've got a big enough backlog as it is on my
consoles,
Xbox, and I've got PS as well. I've actually pre-ordered the Switch, and I'm thinking I'll need to get Horizon Zero Dawn, and then Switch is coming out. And obviously, the only game I really want to play is Zelda, because that's the only fucking game that's coming out on it. So.
The reason why I wanted to ask is because, like, Maddie has them all, I have them all. You only have consoles, and you're still backlogged. Like, that's how many games. It's crazy.
Yeah. And the thing is, I mean, there's games that come out last fall, and I haven't got around to them either. It's ridiculous. It's partly my fault because, like, Skyrim Special Edition come out, and I'll just play that even though I've played it before.
So I asked both of you guys.
I moved on I moved on from Skyrim Special Edition so fast. Like, I played it for the review. After that, like, I put enough time in it to have a good opinion to make sure everything works technically fine. And then after that, it's like, okay, I'm moving on because I've already played like 5,000 fucking hours of Skyrim.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've only because I haven't had a PC, I haven't had that. The modding and stuff like that. So, and to be fair, I only played it maybe twice on Xbox 360. So.
Wait, so you never sunk in like a full playthrough?
No, I mean, I only probably played it. Like as in twice full playthrough. Come on.
I was gonna say, Lee, bro.
Come on, man.
What the fuck
well, I mean, if you guys have time this weekend, we could always do some hardline with. Oh man,
I'm not playing that shit.
That's great, man. But I got to ask you guys. So if you guys have a game on your backlog, so closing pillars, yeah, it looks good. If you guys have a game on your backlog, do you guys ever do? So I do something that forces me to play the game. I invite people over. And we do like a party style thing where it's like, okay, everybody come over. We're going to barbecue, and I'm going to play. We're going to pass it around, or maybe just one person will play, but everybody will come over. Do you guys ever do that to like get through a game? Because that actually allows me to get through many games that are in my backlog. Have you guys ever done anything?
No
like
one.
that?
No one plays my safe file. No, I haven't done that.
Plays my safe
Gotcha.
I'll I'll invite a buddy over and I'll say like, yo, let's play through this together. Because it's
Right.
not like it's almost tedious getting through your backlog. It's just like, how do you word it? It's good to stay modern in our position, Karak, but you feel like if you're going back, you're like almost suffering in a way. I feel like that's just the best way to word it. You're not really suffering. You're playing a fucking awesome game that you're curious about, but you feel like it's at the expense of something else. Like you could be playing a newer title. So like at least if you're doing it with a friend, it feels like less bad. But at the same token, like it makes it also way more fun to re-experience some older games and just pick out stuff that's changed between then and now. Yeah,
I just like the social dynamic of people. I know you beat Gears 4 before, remember? Because I was teasing you on Twitter because I was like, let's play co-op. And you're like, motherfucker, I already beat Gears 4. That was in the review. But I like that social dynamic of like having people come. And I've found that for me, if I need to play an old game, especially if a newer game's coming out and I want to compare them, or like I think there might be some contrasts there, that having Cadiz over or somebody to like, there's a social dynamic there that's very enjoyable. That can. It's not only just playing a game, but it's like I've also got friends over, and I know Maddie's said a couple times he's got one friend who comes over a lot. So I was just wondering. Just
one
if
friend.
You don't,
my son Connor.
Yeah, your son shares the same last name as him. That's fucking hilarious. The first name he pointed out on stream was just like, what the fuck, dude? Who is that? Is that my dad?
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, it was so funny.
No, yeah, I like playing co-op games, but yeah, I mean,
that's something that's that they're low on nowadays. Is co-op.
Yeah,
Online,
especially couch co-op. Couch co-op is lacking.
Completely deprived. Like we've talked about this before, Karak, but like 2013, I think Borderlands, or was that 2012? I mean, there was one year, either 2012 or 2013. It seemed like there was 1,000,001 co-op games, and they just stopped. It was done. Hasn't been many since.
The PR is just too hard to handle. They don't want to handle the PR of people will say, hey, this game looks like shit, and they'll be like, dude, it's drawn twice as much. Like the companies I talk to are like, we're not going to handle the PR, pushback of the couple people who want to play co-op.
I understand that. Why give yourself more problems? When you can consciously avoid them, right?
Yeah, right.
And control them. I get that. Yeah. It's just it sucks because I'm a big fan of playing online.
That's my favorite type is co-op, couch co-op.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's how a lot of people fall in love with gaming. You play with someone else. It's a ton of fun.
Right.
One bit of news.
Sorry.
No, go on.
Carry on, Matt.
No,
I was going to say, certain games I can only play co-op, like Borderlands. I can't really sit there and play it on my own. I don't know why.
Absolutely. No, I absolutely agree. Just one bit of news I meant to toss out there that just came to mind was Prey 2 got a release date. Or Prey got a release date. Jeez.
Was it May? Was it May?
May 5th. It's coming out.
Wow, we don't know a lot about that for May 5th.
Yeah.
It came out with a new gameplay trailer. A little more story focused, so that might give you some answers. But
just get to see a few guns and stuff.
It's very it's scary reminiscent of Bioshock, but also Dishonored in the sense where I am not, even though this has the potential to be very psychologically gripping, it's very I can already see this is gonna be a story that plays with your head, and I hope it does. Just from what details we have, it seems like once again it's like typical Arcane. And I know this is the Arcane in Austin, but it seems completely similar to Dishonored, where it's like, wow, these fucking amazing gameplay systems, but this story that doesn't seem to grab me right off the bat. I caught a facepalm.
It was because I thought of Battlefield Hardline. You were talking about psychology stuff. I don't know why. It just popped in my head.
God damn it! I should have never said that.
No, you definitely should. So when you look at it though, Maddie, does it feel like Bioshock a little too like?
Art style wise, yes.
Yeah.
Way too much like Bioshock. It's just that almost pastel looking hand.
Right.
That's the first thing. Same thing with, and it's got like these very nubby short fingers for everyone. Very much like We Happy Few. It's another one that comes to mind.
Oh, that's another one. Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know why so many games take it, but this seems to be the arcane style of things. You look at Dishonored once again. You look at now Prey. They seem to have that very BioShock feel when it comes to art style as well as HUD design. Prey very much reminds me of BioShock in that way too, with how it designs the heads-up display. But I'm liking what I see when it comes to you see like a chair tipped over, it'll turn into an enemy. I definitely like that a lot. But it seems to have turned where the initial gameplay reveal reminded me more I don't want to say survival horror, but it was more of a survival experience. It seemed like you're going to be taking on a lot, like a small amount of strong enemies and really scavenging resources. But in this one, he was just like lighting dudes up and really going to town a lot more, in my opinion. It seemed a little more action focused, which is obviously to sell the game. But for me, it just looked very different. But I'm not saying that Prey was originally a survival horror game of some kind. It's just that this series seems to have some type of identity crisis when you look at the canceled two, and then this one. It's like it doesn't. What is Prey, right? And that's what they're trying to do with this. Is like this is what Prey is going to be. It's like that's not what I imagine Prey as when I look at the other two. It's so fucking confusing. Still looks great though. I'm still definitely looking forward to playing it.
What about you, Lee? Did you see the trailer?
Yeah, I see the trailer. I thought it looked a bit. I don't know if anyone ever played this game, but I randomly did. Condemned 2.
Oh hell yeah! Yes.
And I really liked that game, but it was. I'm hoping that the story is like, certain films and certain games. Now and again, you'll get where you watch it and you think, what the? You kind of know. It'll take you a minute, take a couple of minutes to be like, I understand that now, or
right.
You can't.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're hoping for with Prey. Yeah. You can definitely tell with the fact that he's like, "Oh, Morgan, how's your day going? It must be pretty weird if you're talking to yourself or something like that." That's what they say in the trailer. I'm like, okay, so they're gonna try to fuck with you, and it seems like it has the edge in storytelling compared to Dishonored, in my opinion, gameplay wise. My fear is that it'll get redundant. Like I'm gonna see an inanimate object and go, "That's gonna transform into an enemy," and then it does. It's like, oh. It's getting predictable now, so that's what I'm afraid of. It gets almost like a Alien Isolation, where it goes on a little too long, and you start to predict the game's rhythm and stuff. That could be sometimes damaging to a product.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and like it depends on if it's scripted, or if it's because like Resident Evil, if you look at another game that just got released that sort of has a psychological edge to it, like Prey does. If a game is scripted or if it's random. Both have positives and negatives, but with Prey, it's really going to matter because what's the shooter where it was the military one where you have PTSD.
Spec Ops: The Line?
Not Spec Ops. Yeah, Spec Ops: The Line.
Okay.
So Spec Ops: The Line messes with you. You think you're doing one thing and you're not. If Prey does it well and doesn't do it like Last Guardian, where you question if the game's broken. And I was okay with Last Guardian, but I know what people mean when they were like, "What the fuck is this cat bat piece of shit doing? Like, it's not leaping when it's supposed to." Yeah, well, Maddie, because I liked it, and Maddie, man, some of your Twitter, I was like, "Damn, son," because you were directing us.
I was like, "What the fuck is this?" But it's just the ending was enough to make me be like, "Okay, this is like
I get it. Yeah.
I like this, but I'm definitely not touching this again."
Yeah, so if Prey's like that, where it goes too far, 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon bullshit, I'm not going to be happy. But if it's just one or two little weird issues here and there, and like you said, where a chair turns into a dude, where you question, but you don't always question. When you always question, it can really burn you out. Like it can be where it's like, I'm just going to shoot everything.
I was about to say, then you go, fuck this. Right,
right. It's just like, that's where we get like homicidal CNN TV shows where somebody's like, a man killed 45 people today because he was batshit fucking nuts. Like, so how is Prey going to turn out? Is it just going to be where you're like questioning, or is it going to, if you're homicidal, then what the fuck, like, it's just going to be really an odd game.
So describe then, because I don't know much about Resident Evil's Madhouse difficulty. I'm assuming that's what you were referring to. Is that, how does that work? Is it complete? Is it set but completely different from the original difficulty, or is it all just dynamic?
Okay, you have easy, normal, and Madhouse. Madhouse if you pre-order or if you beat it. What happens with Madhouse difficulty is it rearranges items, first of all. It rearranges some enemy behaviors. But one thing people are missing, and a lot of reviewers didn't know whether they should say this. I've already talked to like 4 reviewers who are like, should we tell people this or should we not? Shit doesn't happen the same way for everybody. And I don't want to spoil too much, but if you saw something in a Let's Play or if you experienced it, there is absolutely no guarantee somebody else will experience that same thing. And I can't say much more. But a lot of people told me, they were like, you said this was a buy, but it's only 12 hours. And first of all, I'm like 20 shitty hours or 12 good hours. I'll purchase 12 good hours instantly. But this is more like 30 because I'm going to tell you right now, if you play it on normal and then you play it on Madhouse, just because of the choice, just because of some things that happen, it's already going to be different. But then Madhouse absolutely changes stuff. For example, I can give you one example. One place, a key to go somewhere is just in normal is just right there. Like you find the key like you would normally find it, right? In another, you have to solve a puzzle to then unlock a thing to then get the key. And there is a very distinct, cool feeling of interactivity that happens when you encounter something you think will be identical, and it's not just a new creature somewhere. It's a fucking puzzle. Like you're like, wait, what? Like I never saw this.
Yeah, that's interesting because not a lot of games nail that or even do that. They just sort of, and
it's hard as fuck. Oh, excuse me. By the way, it's
top
hard.
Of my head, it's you got Bethesda just kind of bullet sponge and that's it.
Yeah.
Just trying to kill something and it's like impossible, but
yeah, no, I agree. And I test difficulties and I can say that PSVR will improve your gameplay. I was only able to beat the game on Madhouse because I was doing PSVR.
Just
look and aim
that bit when
were you in my review
when you got interrupted?
So the thing about in Madhouse, in any game where you're using the controller, you have to worry about movement acceleration of your cursor to an aim spot. So you have to move here to the left and then move to the right if you fire at this guy and fire at this guy. With PSVR, you just go boom, boom, and they're dead. And I was able to headshot people from 3 times farther away in PSVR because just looking at it centered the crosshair right on the guy's head. And so your accuracy goes up. And in Madhouse, for me, and I'm only speaking for me, Madhouse, it was vital for me to do PSVR. It would have taken me a lot longer. I could have beat it, but it would have taken me far more tries if I had just been using, the controller that entire time.
Yeah, no, look, I was watching your review too. I was like, holy shit, this looks like you said, it seems built to work on VR, and that's fantastic.
It is. Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about something that you were really excited about, Karak. It's Dauntless.
Yeah, so if maybe there'll be a link in the description. I don't know how we do that, Maddie, but basically Dauntless, at least it's a free to play currently Monster Hunter style game. And there's some videos that came out, and I just tweeted Maddie because I was like, something about Monster Hunter and Dragon's Dogma are just my favorite things in the world. Like I don't know what it is, I don't even want to try to describe it, but it looks like that's where they're going. And there were 2 videos. One, they fight a bugbear, but they call it something else. And then the other, they fight some giant armadillo, armadillo spiked. And it was co-op. And to me, that's the thing missing from Dragon's Dogma. And
for sure.
And the idea of like Maddie and I like taking down this creature, and it was a long battle. It was like 13 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That to me,
good length.
Yeah, for free to play, that to me looked fine. It was a little slow. It was zoomed out. If you notice, Maddie, did you notice
the camera? It definitely needed work. I figured it was early.
Pre-alpha though, wasn't it?
It was pre-alpha. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I figured
but to
it was
me,
early in development.
I just to me that looks free to play means I can just turn it on, and if it's great, it's free. And that to me, we're living in such a cool time because when I grew up, there was no such fucking thing as a free game, right?
Now people get 4 free games a month with their live subscription and complain that they're 4 free games. It's like,
what is this shit?
Fuck, yeah.
So I think it looks phenomenal in a early alpha sense, because I know game development and I see what they're going for, and I'm like, that could.
No, it does. I knew it was in early development because of how some things happened during the demo.
Right.
Like the camera angles and just the way the AI acted at times. I was like, okay, it's definitely a little bit earlier. But it was definitely hard to tell. That's the thing. It was like, holy shit. Because usually in early alpha, I think the best way to detect it's young in development is through really the graphics. And I mean, the game looked very pretty. For those who want a description, or you can check it out yourself in the link down below, almost the lands that he was fighting on remind me of like the plains of Skyrim. I mean, it was very colorful.
Maddie, was I wrong? Did it look like it had a gigantic style of cell shading going on as well?
A little bit,
was there a small amount?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it had a very vibrant color palette. But actually, you know what? The best way to describe it, I'm sorry, not more of a Zelda, Breath of the Wild. Okay. That type of art style, that type of color palette is what I was thinking of. But yet it was very much a Monster Hunter, Dragon's Dogma, take down the giant beast boss thing, and I'm sure collect the stuff it drops afterwards.
Lee, you saw it too, right?
Fun.
Yeah. I had a quick look at the. I think there was, well, I'm not sure what the creature was. Maybe it was that armadillo you seen. But it looked a bit random. But yeah, I mean,
it did.
I couldn't get to grips with Monster Hunter. I think it was just the controls, and I mean there's a lot in Monster Hunter, isn't there? There's obviously you got loads of dynamics, loads of, you know, it's a bit like if you first time you played Skyrim, you went on alchemy, you'd be like, what is this? So I would love for him to have a Monster Hunter style game,
right? But
just in a different format. I don't know what it is about Monster Hunter itself. I just couldn't get into it. But yeah, it looks quite promising. But is this just a free to play on PC?
That's I don't know.
Then I'm not bloody interested, mate.
I'm gonna have to just randomly enter you into one of my PC giveaways, just in case.
Yeah, please do. Come on, help brother out.
It looks great. For me, I'm not a fan really of Monster Hunter either. Oddly enough, though, I'm a fan of like Toukiden Kiwami. That's
because you're a weeb.
Sure. I mean, regardless, it's I like it because it's my issue with Monster Hunter, and I know they've kind of fixed it with some gameplay. Still not convinced though. Is that Toukiden and the other one is Freedom Wars. Both much more fast paced. The difference is that Freedom Wars, you have you have like guns and stuff, and it's much more of a, like, you can have an assault rifle or a rocket launcher, or sniper rifle, all these different outfits, and you're taking down instead mechs, and so it's a lot different in that way too. Where Monster Hunter it's definitely like the classic, it's the pinnacle. I remember I remember fondly playing Monster Hunter. I think it was Ultimate on the PSP. And that was a good time. You know, I enjoyed it. I've enjoyed Monster Hunter before. It's just, for me, the one that's gripped me for long hours and sessions is Toukiden. It helps that those games are co-op, though. I can't imagine sinking as much hours as some people have.
I think no one I knew, weirdly enough, had a PSP. PSP was awesome.
Yeah, that's
PSPs were great. And I think I remember just playing the demo, and I did really enjoy it, but I just never got around to getting it. Which is
I liked it because it was different. I was like, because at the time, I know this is gonna sound ridiculous, but I mean, I was younger. I was like, oh, a stamina bar when I do things. Holy shit! Like, when I jump, when I roll, when I swing, it like recognizes that. And to me, that was fucking wild. And I had to repair my stuff. I was a little familiar with that because I think in Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, you had to repair stuff. I'm not sure though. Regardless,
Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, that was some shit, dude. Those old beat 'em ups. Oh my god.
Because they don't make them any more harder. You got, obviously, the only one I can think of on these, modern is Diablo. But
well,
there was one that you reviewed, Karak. What was that?
Yeah, if you're talking about Gauntlet, is that what style games?
Yeah,
you have Van Helsing on the consoles, but you also have
that's free. That was free on Xbox One, but
you have games that have taken the Gauntlet to a different genre, like Skylanders, which I'm a fan of, even though it's considered a kiddie game, because of how long it takes to upgrade characters and stuff. That's the Gauntlet style. So Gauntlet's moved away from the Wizard Warrior, the elf is about to die, the Dark Alliance, Baldur's Gate, and they've gone towards Toys R Life, Infinity for a while. It's sad because, for example, I loved Van Helsing. Like that on the PC, that's a great game. On the console, it's good. They just announced Path of Exile for the Xbox One. So that'll be coming out.
That Van Helsing game's like, is that World
Grim
of...
Dawn. I know this is on PC, but Grim Dawn's another one that I've heard really good things about. That's that's another Gauntlet style game.
Yeah. What were you asking me, Lee?
Sorry, that Van Helsing game, is that World of Van Helsing? Death Trap, is that game? I'm not sure. I got
all I know. See, they changed the name for the console release, I think it's called. It's just Van Helsing. If you look at it, it'll look like Diablo, basically, and it's very enjoyable title. But yeah, you know what, Baldur's Gate. You also had a couple Lord of the Rings games, Maddie.
Yeah, I'll play one of them.
I love
like
Lord of the
3 or
Rings
4
Conquest.
characters.
Oh man, yeah, but they had what was it? Oh my God! Why is the title eluding me? War in the North. That was the one you're thinking of.
Yeah. That's
War in the North was phenomenal.
I love that game. That game.
You know what's
that game
funny?
got a bad rap.
When you talk to developers, do you know what they consider Gauntlet? And this blew me away. We were at GDC. Lego.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah. So I asked them, and they're right. It adjusts it for its own world, but it is the Lego. Multiple characters running around, doing things on a 2.5 or a 3D scale, depending. But that a lot of developers see Lego as like the Gauntlet, and so they aim for that, and they don't aim for the Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance style, which is more what I'm hoping for. Return to that dark style.
Next bit of news that you also find very interesting, Karak, Dirt 4.
Yeah, no one else will care, so I'll just say, yeah, Dirt 4.
No one else will care.
Dirt Rally works on VR, which is it's insane.
That'd be cool.
Dirt as a whole, I've always liked, even though the fucking what was it called? Like the Travis Pastrana, who I like, but his Dirt 3 went sort of crazy with like interior stadium stuff. Dirt 4 has a create your own track thing, which is fucking awesome. And so to me, that kind of stuff is really exciting for a racing game. So
yeah, only types of games like that I can think of playing was like motocross versus ATV. I think it was called.
Oh yes. I
played those a lot growing up.
Guilty pleasure, man.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they had some horrible soundtracks if I remember, but yeah, that was.
They did.
I remember like because I'd be like I was young, and so I'm sitting there in my room like, and this is heavy fucking metal playing, and I'm just like, what is this? Like, I wasn't a fan of that type of music at the time, but those are the only types of games I can think of. How about those old Stuntman games? You remember those?
Oh, I remember Stuntman Ignition. Was that what it was called?
Oh my God, yeah, I do remember those.
Yes, you like drive around and do stuff for like movies and shit in your car.
I was thinking of James Bond.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a crazy blast from the past, dude. That's one of those times where your memory, your brain was just about to erase that and write over it like a recipe for eggs. And then somebody mentions that, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna remember that forever, dude. Those games. So that's the shit that I want gaming to return to. Like when I go to GDC and we're talking to like these smaller developers and you see them working on something like that, you're like, please God, let that work. Because Stuntman was so unique. I mean, fucking who would have even thought of that? So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree though. I mean, I was telling you about it when we were discussing the limited physical run for Oxenfree. For some context, there's a company called Limited Run Games. It's such a brilliant idea. It really is. They contact indie developers who do digital releases for their titles that end up becoming critically acclaimed, Oxenfree being one of them. And I think they did one for Octodad. They did one for a bunch of games. And they get into contact with them. They say, how would you like to have a limited physical release for your game? It's sold well. We'll make X amount of copies for PS4, Vita. It seems to be the common choice of systems. And people will pick them up. And that's what they do. And I sat in actually on one of the meetings when I was at E3. I had the privilege of meeting Lord Lanning, who is he's the head of Oddworld Inhabitants, which Oddworld's one of my favorite franchises of all time. I absolutely love that series so much. Munch's Odyssey being my favorite, but aside from that, I sat in on this meeting. Yeah, I love that game. I sat in on this meeting though, and so the guy from Limited Run Games comes over. He's like, "Hey, what's up, Lauren?" They're chatting and stuff like that. And they started talking about, they did a limited run for, what Oddworld game was it?
Stranger's Wrath, wasn't it?
New and Tasty. They did New and Tasty first. Did well. And so I'm sitting there, we're all chatting, and he's like, by the way, you want to do another limited run? And Lauren's like, why the fuck not? Which game you thinking? He's like, well, Stranger's Wrath good for you? And he's like, yep. And that was it. That was the meeting right there. And from there, I literally saw a month later them list it. It sold out like that. I'm like, that is amazing to me. That there's this division in the industry that's a little more laid back and just about let's fucking do this. That would be awesome, because it wasn't even like they didn't even. And mind you, like I said, it wasn't even because I was there. They didn't even talk money, profit, or anything like that. They were both just like, fuck yeah, like that sounds awesome. Let's do that. And they did it and sold out right away, and well deserved. Those games are wonderful. I love Stranger's Wrath. Fucking crazy plot twist, man. Oh my god,
so good.
Yeah. That was one of the first hybrid first and third person games I played. Really, really awesome title. Ladies and gentlemen, do yourself a favor. It's been HD remade on the Vita, the PS3 as well, and it's had a physical. Actually, it might be on PS4 now. I'm not sure. I don't think it is.
Yeah.
But
I just bought 2 versions of Oxenfree. Thank you for reminding me, Manny.
Oh, you got them?
I did, because I got to give them away. Like, if there's a game out there that I want to succeed beyond belief, it's Oxenfree. Yeah. So I just bought 2. I'll just give them away to patrons. But
cool.
Yeah, man. And they're not IM 8-bit or whatever that other company is that fucks up every single physical release they do, because this company takes care of their shit. The other company is the one who handled No Man's Sky. And they had like a spaceship you could buy, and it fucking, like, they've only released they had a res physical copy, and they've screwed up every single, physical versions of what they're doing. These guys have succeeded in every single. So if you get a chance, support them. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. Limited run games is awesome. So be sure to check them out, because they just do. Think of any good indie game, and they have likely done a limited run for it, and it's just I think it's a self-run business. The guy does it himself, and he does it very well. It's really cool stuff. But off track there from Dirt 4 to that. How about the other bit of news? Karak, you brought this up, that Warner Brothers, we were discussing them a little bit during the Marvel and Square Enix bits, that they're on a bit of a purchasing spree. They're looking to start just making a ton of fucking games, and their recent purchase was Avalanche Studios, the people who made Just Cause, as well as Mad Max.
Yep.
I love that game.
Oh, so do I. I'm doing a walking the walk on Mad Max right now, actually.
I see you playing it over there. So.
Yeah, so Maddie and I forgot. I forgot to mention that because we were trying to pimp something on my channel. I'll be doing a David Bateson interview. He's the voice actor for Hitman. I'll be doing a interview next Monday for him, and then I'll post it on the day of the release of the physical version of Hitman. And we were trying to mention it at the starting of the video, and we both got so excited. Excited Lee was here.
Yeah.
So Warner Brothers basically just came out, and I was telling Maddie, they're sort of surprising, because Warner Brothers sort of snuck up on me in success. And what I mean by that is, even though I like their games, I sort of forgot how many good items they've released, like Shadow of Mordor, those kind of things, and then Mad Max and others. And so basically what they did is, yesterday they did this big press announcement where they said, here's why we bought Avalanche. They knew them personally in real life. They really liked them. They liked their ideas, their engine. They bought them, and their goal moving forward is basically to purchase more independent studios. And then prior to the podcast, Maddie and I had hinted, wow, it'd be awesome if Obsidian. And then during the podcast too. Yeah. I mean, it's great, because I think Warner Brothers is known to be, from what I understand from developers, and this seems backed up by some of the stuff on Twitter, they're the most hands-off publisher beyond Sony, beyond anybody. They're considered to be very hands-off, and to basically just say, if this is what you're working on, go forth and work. And I support that. So.
That's awesome. I actually didn't know that. I just wouldn't think of them as that. Not that I have an issue with them. Just it's not a company I think of right away. It's pretty impressive stuff. So what companies do you think they could look into picking up? Obsidian definitely is one that comes to mind right away. That'd be a weird combination, though, seeing Warner Brothers under Obsidian constantly.
But if they're hands off, then I suppose it would work. So
that would definitely work, though. That definitely seems something up Obsidian's alley. I hope they look into that, because, like you said, Karak, it would be horrible to wake up one day and just be like, "Yep, we're bankrupt. We're shutting our doors," and it's like, "Fuck." They mainly make good games.
Well, you just mentioned somebody that I think needs support, and it never seems to get it. And I like all the big three for various reasons, but Oddworld, I would absolutely love if Warner Brothers said, "Hey, here's, a good amount of money. Go make Stranger's Wrath 2." Laura, Lanning and a couple others are all known to be sort of like I don't know what you call it, like the spiritual drivers of a lot of people in the industry. When you talk to other developers, that his name is brought up as well as a couple others.
They have a lot of influence.
Yeah, they have a lot of influence, and I think that Warner Brothers, from what we're seeing, appears to be very pro-game and has sort of made the turn from a company that is like, it's all money-based, so don't get me wrong, but they seem to be a little bit more understanding that sometimes you got to just let people go and see what they create without the heavy reins of a Microsoft or a Sony, or even a Nintendo.
Or Konami.
Yeah.
Or a Konami. They're not even heavy rain. That shit's slavery.
I was going to say, that was legit fucking slavery. That was some fucking serious shit.
What's some other companies, though? That's a good... Yeah. Lee, do you have any examples of like a company you'd like to see like under like a Warner Bros. Somebody who's hands-off like that?
Platinum Games would be a good one. They bounce from developer to developer. I'd like to see them just get bought out and start working on something, Or
it's not necessarily a bad thing them going to this, that, and the other, but obviously...
I think it's a bad thing because I've seen them make so much fucking trash. Besides the air and
Platinum is 50-50.
Bayonetta, yeah, they are so they're like, all right, we made a good game. Yeah, I was about to say, and then they get this next project. It's Legend of Korra or TMNT, and they're
you're just
guys, take
Ninja
the fucking
Turtles.
Week off. Fuck this piece of shit. Let's blow this stack. Whatever. It's honestly, they're so 50-50. I'd love for them just to sit down. Cause obviously they have fucking potential. They've made 3 very good action games. Metal Gear Rising was one of them as well. I don't see them, Warner Brothers, being them purchasing Oddworld, just because I know how Oddworld. When I talked to Lauren, he seemed so fucking pissed off at how bent over they got about. Not even seemed, he was over how EA fucking shafted them when they were publishing the launch title, which was Munch's Odyssey.
And Microsoft.
They got gutted. They got completely gutted. They're very lucky to still have their doors open because now they have a lot of just fan support through was it crowdfunding? I don't think they've crowdfunded their project, no. But just through re-releasing and digitizing classics and remaking as well with like a New and Tasty or Oddworld Soulstorm, which is technically going to be Abe's Exodus, but I think it's going to take more of its own form, it seems.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic to see them fight through all of this where I think it's interesting when I talk to them, though. I always bring this up that it was I've never met a developer who, when I said to him, I told him my favorite game in the series is Munch's Odyssey. He's like, yeah, I don't like that one. He's like, yeah, we tried. We tried too hard on that. That didn't, we were too ambitious and we didn't have the right ideas in place and we don't think it turned out well. I'm like, that's what you call bad? I'm like, I want to see what you think good is, because that was awful. I fucking love Munch's Odyssey. So that was a very unique experience to have right there. Just chat with him and find out the game that I love most in the series. He's like, yeah, we pretend that didn't happen.
Wow. Yeah, I never heard that.
Yeah, right? It's pretty crazy. I guess he's like, his words were, we bit off more than we could chew with that title. I'm like, that's very interesting. But that was the last bit of news I had on my list. Was there anything else we wanted to discuss today?
Lee?
I actually seen a little thing that's quite cool. It's not game related, but Fox have ordered an X-Men TV pilot. Yes.
I see. I've lost interest in superhero TV. I watched Gotham for 2 seasons and I just stopped.
I've not watched an awful lot, so that's something I'll probably watch. But see, I grew up.
I tried Agents of
X-Men
the Shield. That
Evolution.
is hot garbage. That's what I call that. That's hot garbage. Agents of
What's
Shield.
garbage? Sorry.
Agents of Shield.
Agents of Shield is nah. All they do is just knock people out.
Fucking utter trash, in my opinion. I could not stand that show. I tried watching it for like 10 episodes straight. I was like, I'm dying right now. I feel like I'm catching a disease.
No, that was boring. Can't lie, that was boring.
So Fox announced that they're purchased a season, I'm assuming, of X-Men for TV, I mean, are we talking like just the X-Men we see in the movies, but in TV form? Because if so,
I'm hoping so, but I don't know.
I mean, really? Because like, I don't know who the fuck would be Wolverine other than I don't even like. I remember when Hugh Jackman was first announced. I'm like, what the fuck? And now,
Right.
Yeah,
he's
you
in my
can't
brain.
see anyone else. Yeah, you
I can't see
anyone
anybody
else.
else. Yeah, so it'll be. I mean, and all the power to them because that just grows the segment of kids who are like, hey, let's go check out if there's a video game. So it just brings more money, and so I'm happy with that. But, or it could be the school, which would be even more interesting to me.
That would be interesting. Yeah. That's a good idea. I could see
I would
that.
love that. Yeah. So, yeah, that's interesting. I guess I disagree with both of you guys. I don't hate Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I don't love it. But
I wouldn't say I even hate it. I just think it's just not.
Dude, you just said it was hot garbage and you got a disease from watching it.
Yeah, but I'm saying no. I wouldn't call that hate though, because if I hate something, that's like Ninja Turtles. Like,
oh yeah, right.
Yeah, like Ninja Turtles is like, please fucking disappear, which it did. I was like, wow, thank you. But no, like when I call it hot, my term for hot garbage is like you're using the brand of Marvel, and this is really just a bare bones fucking TV show.
Right.
But it's only interesting because it's Marvel.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then, yeah, when I'm like trying to watch them develop a storyline, that's when I was like, I'm catching a disease. But like, it's not like I hate it. Like I said, hot garbage. Hot garbage. That's my favorite term to use when I see that type of bullshit, in my opinion.
There you go. You back?
Just double checking for any news. But
when it comes to games, I mean, there's a couple other things.
Go for it.
Okay. I was just looking at this. So I wanted to ask you guys, what do you think of For Honor? Anybody do the beta?
I didn't get a chance to.
No, I didn't get the beta.
Okay.
I didn't actually try, but
all I can say is, man, it looks, it looks really fun. It also, and I would love if subscribers who played it longer than me would post what they like see as the hook, because what I saw and what I played, it's one of the first times this has happened, and I usually get hands-on with the game early. I can't see any reason why you would play it for very long. And so I would love to hear if people like enjoyed that, but what I played and the combat that I did was not something, and you're talking about somebody who dreamt. I used to discuss with friends, like, what if a samurai fought a Viking? I mean, that was the coolest discussions to have. So I'd like to know what you guys like anybody who's played it, what they think, because what I played, I don't see any reason why like Matt after a week would return, where like even with Overwatch, those kind of games, I can pick up on that right away. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I wasn't that I was not impressed. It was that I literally couldn't see what would like.
Very reliant on its multiplayer, in my opinion, because you can almost tell right off the bat from the demo I played at E3 and the alpha I played after that, just nothing in the campaign is really appealing. It just seems like a extended tutorial for the multiplayer. So it's going to be very relying heavily on its multiplayer, which I don't think is a bad thing, because I think it's got a unique concept. You look at medieval chivalry warfare, and I'm not a big. I understand why people like that game. It's just not a game for me, really. I feel it's a little too, not clunky, but it's very, very choppy. Like you'll swing your axe, for example, your pole axe, and it'll just be
That's what I felt.
Basic animation. And I'm usually not about all the flash and stuff, but it just didn't feel like power when I was swinging and missing. And the hit detection was just very bad. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that wasn't the type of game for me where I really like For Honor's, like, you get in a position, you're circling the opponent and you got to match the side with them when they're swinging at you to block their attack. And then, it's a lot of strategy, a lot of reaction. It's a unique base of multiplayer where usually the focus is on, here's a gun, you're in first person, here's some new movement things. Yeah, try all these different guns and spins we have on that, where this is like totally its own thing, but I can see it really getting some legs based off what I've read online. I mean, a lot of people are really impressed with how it's developed. Good. I certainly am, because what I played at E3, I was like, that wasn't good. That wasn't good. I was just like, I can't see myself enjoying this. I see this game not doing that well, and they delayed it. And I played the alpha, and I was like, okay, multiplayer wise, yes, this game gets a big thumbs up from me. So When it comes to For Honor, I'm on board with it. I hope it succeeds because it definitely is a good idea, and it's going to be a nice shot in the arm for multiplayer games in general.
I hope you get a chance to play the beta this weekend then, because I was where you were until I played it.
Yeah. It's one of those things you got to play it. You got to play it. I think Dark Souls fans will really like it in a weird way. I think just because of that.
That's true. Yeah.
Just that it's a challenge in a way of reading your opponent. Almost like every enemy you encounter in online multiplayer is like its own boss fight of trying to read their patterns, how they fight, and take them down, isolate them. It's a lot of strategy involved. Like I said, it's very different. It's going to be fun. That much I can say. I really think it's going to be a lot of fun. And
then another is that Wildlands, the Ubisoft. Dude, originally I was not into that, but after talking to somebody who got hands-on with it and just seeing some of the new trailers and the draw distance, and they're playing it live on like consoles, and it is finally, and again, I don't know if it's great or anything. It's just I'm getting excited by seeing some of what's going on. And the draw distance and everything, it just, oh my God. Like now, the more I see it, the more I'm like, oh, dude, this may be awesome. We'll see.
Yeah.
But
I like Ghost Recon a lot. I think Ubisoft takes good care of it. Advanced, what was it? It has a fucked up name. Ghost Recon.
Advanced Warfare or Advanced Warfighter.
But it was like Future Soldier. That's what it was.
Future Soldier, yeah.
Yeah, that one I really liked a lot. That was a very strong third-person shooter, and I really liked how they built that game. So I'm very much looking forward to Wildlands. Are you thinking about picking that up, Lee?
So Ubisoft, very hit and miss for me. Obviously, you can go with Assassin's Creed and whatnot. Obviously, you got. There's no one I know that loves every single Assassin's Creed. So. But For Honor looks good, but at the same time, I mean, I'm not sure about it. But then Ghost Recon also looks good, but at the same time, I'm not sure about it. I need to play the beta for Honor.
Yeah, right.
Is there any kind of? I don't think there's any beta for anything for Ghost Recon, is there?
There will be. Yeah, there's a sign up. You can go to their page right now and sign up.
Oh, okay. That comes on my birthday, funny enough.
Does it?
There's a ton of
but there's another crowded area. Like I'm going to be. Games. Yeah, I want to play.
Literally starting the 7th, it's a game each week until like the end of. I think mid-March. I want to say like you got Neo, then you got For Honor, Horizon. I think what's 228? What's 228? I'm forgetting right now. Something comes out that day, and then Nintendo Switch. After that, a couple of days later is Wildlands. I mean, they're just fucking powering it out constantly. I think maybe there's a brief reprieve in between until Mass Effect on the 21st or 8th. Regardless, though, I mean, there's just so much.
Sniper Elite 4, if anyone's interested in that.
That's what I think it is.
Very interesting.
Or no, I am too. I think that's the 7th as well. Fuck.
That's 14th of February, according to that's UK though, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a
different your side.
I mean, it's definitely a busy time for games, but I mean, it's awesome because there's a lot of different stuff just in what you mentioned. There's a lot of different games there's a little bit for everybody, which is nice. It's not just like, it's all first person.
So we got South Park, The Fractured Butthole. Oh my 31st of March.
Yes. Holy shit. I'm going to dive into South Park. I will not come up for air until the moment I
love that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big South Park fan. I love the Stick of Truth, but I'm
so
not of the show.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I love the game.
I think it's how a lot of people felt.
Yeah,
that must be why they're doing another one at least.
I think with the game, Maddie, I think when you look at those kind of things, it's cool because you can play it and go, okay, I'll check out the cartoon. Like,
I think that's how they view it too.
Exactly, and if you're a fan already, then great, you can play it. But I will say this: their splitting of like magic being like vomit magic, and their ideas were
fart powers and shit.
Yeah. Ingenious, and I'm not a big South Park fan, so
good old Obsidian.
Yeah, me too.
That was Obsidian's doing.
Of course, yeah, and I'm so stoked for that game.
Who's working on the new South Park game though? It's not Obsidian. Just
No,
Ubisoft.
it's one of their.
Oh
whatevers.
yeah. Oh, see what I mean? They see, not being funny, they can just turn around and just somehow mess it up.
But then
And
you look at
it's
like
already got a
Child
good
of Light.
formula.
Child of Light is fantastic, and that was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
a
yeah,
random Ubisoft team out
Yeah.
of nowhere. They was like, "Yep, we're doing this." Came out, was fucking amazing, and that was it. So I mean, they can just spawn random teams and have some serious magic there. But
I'm just being honest. I don't know of any company that I don't feel the way Lee does, though. Really, I mean, I can't remember. BioWare, I guess, would be very close for me because I am considered, a BioWare fan, very, very heavy. But even Mass Effect 3 didn't do it. So it's like, and certainly Inquisition had a number of problems. So like, no company now. I get what he means by Ubisoft because I think that there's certainly something more there than in some companies. But overall now, I just don't feel like any company has even close to a good track, or a super high track record.
everyone's got a bunch of blunders.
Yeah, it's more like 75%'s the high. It's like you have
like
the average student.
who can turn on a dime and make the best of what they have. Like Sega used to be like the enemy of the fucking internet for a while, and then they've really changed their tune in this past year or so, and have been doing some awesome stuff. They recently just released a bunch of game soundtracks on Spotify for free.
Gotcha.
One of them was like Jet Set Radio. I love that game.
Yeah.
But then you got Sonic Mania, the new Sonic game afterwards. Despite
is it Sega Yakuza? Yakuza?
Yes, it is actually. Yeah. But aside from that, I know that Fire and Ice from the Sonic series doesn't have a good reputation. Or what was it? No, Sonic Boom was bad, but then Fire and Ice, the one that came out on 3DS, did very well. And so I think Sega's getting back on track. They're starting to make better products.
Yeah, for sure.
What about Ukulele?
Not
That looks
interested
awesome.
yet.
I'm
You think so?
I mean, I'm not like a lot of people where they're like, oh my god, it's like rare 3D platformers.
Right.
This is I've grown up with. I miss it. I like 3D platformers. I do.
Me too.
Not like I have this like big Wooly for one. I like the idea of it. Like you said, with all these games coming out, it's like there's a little bit for everyone. And everything usually involves a combat or a heavy story or a unique universe. And then you got Ukulele, which is something kind of just out on its own. You don't see any other ukulele like titles out there, so that's why I'm particularly looking forward to it. It's almost like going to be a palate cleanser because I'm going to be going through between fucking March and February. There's going to be so many story titles and all this stuff that I'm not complaining about. I love that. Story in games is so important. But like I said, it's just going to be this breath of fresh air afterwards to go into something and be like, okay, this is going to be kind of like, it's going to be cute. This is going to be fun. And that's really all I need to know going into this. Not like, what's the lore? How to pair up? What's this? What's that? It's like, this is just Ukulele. New game, 3D platformer. Have some fun. It's like, fuck yeah. Because, another example of a 3D platform I really like is Tearaway. Oh my God. Fantastic title. I don't know if you played it on the PS4, Karak, because I know you don't have a Vita, but I played it on the Vita. Oh my God, that is some amazing work. It's by the same team who made Little Big Planet, I believe.
Oh, gotcha.
Seriously, incredible stuff. Love it.
Do you guys? So, I guess they outrared Rare in a way, but I know what you mean by it's not necessarily just Rare. But there is something colorful about it that Ukulele that I like the look of. There's another game called Woven. Have you seen any previews for that? Where you're a stuffed teddy bear and then you can create your own creature out of different stuffed parts you collect, and the entire world is.
I like that. That sounds awesome, but is that like that fucking killer teddy bear game that came out on the 360? It was like awful.
Oh my God!
There's another one like that, Little Nightmares.
Yeah, I remember that teddy bear game.
That's what I thought right away. Yeah,
no,
I
it's
forgot
not.
what it's called. Yeah.
I like those games, and you mentioned palate cleansers, and I think that's cool. But one of the things I wanted to ask is, so Lee, you don't have a PC and you just have the consoles. No. Is there is there something on the PC that you're like, fuck, I wish this was on? Is there like one?
But I'm trying to think. There's been so many. Obviously, Obsidian's made a few.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm trying to think. But there's been a few times where I'm like, right, I'm going to look online for an Alienware laptop.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But it's just like, I don't know why I just end up not forking out for a PC. I always want to build my own, but then I think I'd probably just mess it up. So.
Yeah.
I'll just stick to the console.
Like, the one thing about consoles, the reason why I brought it up is because like Woven probably won't get a console release and stuff like that. And one of the things that sort of still upsets me is you have a lot of indie games, and yes, some make it to Sony and some make it to Microsoft. Microsoft's doing Ashen, which to me in the next 2 years is probably looks to be the most interesting game ever. I've never been more interested in a game than Ashen, probably. So they do get them, but it's like PC gets so many, you know? It's so a person without a PC, sometimes you're just going like, oh my God, there's free shit. There's like all these, you know, all these different demos and stuff. Yeah, incredible sales. Yeah.
Yeah. Although I have to admit, Steam sale is always amazing, but Sony and PlayStation do a lot of flash sales on PS4 and Vita.
Do they?
And they are usually pretty good deals, and I can't fault them for that. They do a very good job with that. They do definitely take notes from Valve with that, because both times they've done that. Because I played Diablo 3 for the first time a couple months ago. And picked it up with a bunch of friends on a huge discount during a flash sale. Then they did another one, and I played this before, but I got Payday 2 with a bunch of friends for $5, and so they do really good deals on some awesome games.
Very cool.
So it's very good for them to do that. But yeah,
I don't feel like it always means. I mean, I have got both consoles. It's not so bad, but yeah, there was always. I mean, obviously, I didn't have a PS4, and then Bloodborne was coming out, and I was like, I'm gonna have to buy it just for that.
Right.
And I thought, I'm being a bit ridiculous, but I have to get it.
I don't blame you though. That is.
Yeah, no, I loved it.
When it comes to PS4, my favorite exclusive is definitely Bloodborne. When it comes to Xbox One, I'm very torn between Killer Instinct and Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah, I love
Quantum Break put up a fight for it though. That was arguably one of the best ones. I know, Karak, I know, Karak, you were in a fan.
That's another game.
I just really like the idea and the production values behind it. It was very different from, but I'd probably, if I had to pick one, Sunset Overdrive. I love Insomniac. I love them.
That's another example of a company taking a risk with a completely different game and it actually paying off, which is good. Obviously, it's a shame when they do it, and obviously it don't pay off, which is kind of like Scalebound, which obviously got cancelled, which sucks.
It does, but I'm happy it did, because man, that was rough as fuck.
Obviously, I don't know the ins and outs, but obviously, even from the video, you could see it was a bit.
I agree, and like Karak said, just looking at it, they probably tried to think of every way they could possibly get the game out the door, and we're just like,
for sure,
fuck this. This cannot work. And canceled it.
So, like, if we're talking about, so you guys, it sounds like Bloodborne got Lee to get the PS4, and then Matt's saying, so what game was it on the Xbox One? It's Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah.
So it's funny that you guys, Bloodborne makes sense. I think Bloodborne makes sense. Like, people hear Bloodborne and they're like, oh, it's Dark Souls PS4. It's funny that you mentioned Sunset Overdrive, because I feel, and Lee just mentioned it, he's like, it didn't really get the success, whatever. That's sad, because I have not turned it on, but every person I know who's played Sunset Overdrive has liked it. And it's sad.
Fun.
It's sad because Insomniac, right? If I'm right, Insomniac.
Yes.
It's sad that they took that chance to do, Jet Grind Radio 3 or whatever you want to call it, with guns.
Basically. Yeah, and it's probably why I liked it so much.
Yeah, and turn it to 11. And again, I can't speak from playing it, but I find it sad that they took that chance, like Lee said, and then in this weird way, it just didn't work. And I heard a lot of people.
I don't know how well it did, to be fair.
Not very good.
I'm just speaking of. Oh, okay. I didn't realize it didn't do that well.
This is a year after the Xbox One had launched. Not even.
Probably still in the throes of the bullshit that they had tried to launch with too.
Yep, exactly. And so they were off to a horrible start in the first place, and it was a slow crawl to where they're at now, and they're still crawling, in my opinion.
I think we should all give a high five to Insomniac. They're the only company I know that will work for everybody without any real political bullshit. They're like, hey, Microsoft, we'll make you a game. Hey, we're gonna make Spider-Man. And Spider-Man will probably be for both.
They'll go back and make fucking Ratchet and Clank. For the PS4, like afterwards, and be like, "Yeah, we got you too, man. No worries."
They're awesome. They're like
keep making Ratchet and Clank, so good.
Oh, Ratchet and Clank was
great.
Keep
making them.
and beautiful. Like when you turn Ratchet & Clank on and you first start walking around, you're just like, and this is before the PS4 Pro. This is just like straight PS4. You're like, this is almost CGI. Like, this
it literally looks like the film.
Yeah, very great.
It's just like really crisp. That's the first thing you get. It's just like crisp. It's no, I don't know. I can't.
Is there hey, how about another cartoon? Is there any cartoons you guys would want to see? Or anime? Sorry. But I know Cars 3 they just announced is getting a game. For me, like, I would love to see them go ancient. Fire and Ice is an old D&D cartoon. Wizards. I'm trying to think of like old anime. Because see, Spirit Within had a game, right, on the PS3 and 360, I think. Didn't it?
I'm not sure. I'm trying to think. I'm trying
to think one. I'm trying to think also.
But Toy Story 3, by the way, or Toy Story 3 was phenomenal.
Yeah, I was gonna say, dude, that game was fucking awesome, dude.
It was,
and it got them on
the toy box mode. I'm like, I beat this story, and I got this fucking mode that like lets me build and do what I was like. This is amazing.
And not
I played that.
Not a cash-in. Like, like
I played that for. I remember when I first bought it. I bought it as a joke Let's Play video when I first started up this channel. And before it even recorded, like I didn't even hit record. They start you off in the sandbox mode before you can jump into the story. And I got so caught up in the sandbox mode, I played for 6 fucking hours before I actually started recording. That's like bonkers to me. I've never done that. And of course, with my luck, this Let's Play series went like viral, where parents were looking them up with their kids, and they hear me, and I'm like, oh, fuck this shit! Like, I'm pissing my fucking brains out. And like I was getting fucking messages left and right of people like, my son was watching this. You should watch your mouth. You should stop cursing. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ! Like, I can't believe this actually just happened. I'm getting reprimanded by parents on the internet because of my Toy Story Let's Play.
It's crazy though, because Lee liked Toy Story 3. You like Toy Story 3. So did I. You get these games that like should have been a phone in, and instead they're phenomenal. Like it's that surprise. That's what I mean. Is like you get those games where you're all, oh, that's just somebody's just gonna fucking phone that in. There's no. I mean, it's just they're gonna use the name. That's why I have hopes for the Avengers, because like we see that if somebody takes their fucking time and really understands gameplay mechanics and loops, you can have something like Toy Story 3, which legitimately I'm not a huge cartoon like game fan because they all haven't been that good. That freaking game was awesome.
Yeah, so, no, I agree. I completely agree. If I were to see an anime, oh god, I mean, my favorite is Parasite the Maxim. I'd love to see a game on that. I love that game, that series.
Shampoo,
heavy shit.
The Samurai cartoon.
Samurai Jack.
Samurai Jack, that was awesome.
Samurai Jack, M-rated fucking game. Oh my goodness.
Have you ever been? Sorry. Ever been so deep on YouTube one night, and you end up looking up Samurai Jack like theories, and it comes up with something like the Powerpuff Girls died in their dad's bloody Samurai Jack, and you're like, what?
Are you serious,
mate? YouTube at 3 a.m.'s not.
I was gonna say you must have been in the depths of hitting the related.
Mate,
yep.
You can come up with some weird shit.
Well, look at how bad
Samurai Jack would be cool.
What was the game that got that was so bad? I reviewed it, and it was one of the few games.
Battle
and
Crashers.
I said, no, there was that. That was bad. I got in trouble for cussing on that one. The Samurai game that did so bad. Samuel L. Jackson did the voice. Afro Samurai 2. Holy shit. So bad the company removed it for sale, which I'm telling you guys, I had people still defending that on my channel. They were like, it's not that bad. And I'm like, motherfucker, the company won't sell it. It's like selling AIDS. They realize it makes you sick and they're not going to sell it. And they're like, no, it was shit. Like, so, and that's a game that could have been good. It's so that's why I love
the first one. Wasn't the first one good?
It was good, yeah, or okay, yeah. That's why I love development, because when a game turns out that should be phoned in and is great, or should be great and is bad, I love like finding out like how in the hell did somebody say we're going to take this game that should have great mechanics, it's a samurai game, like Samuel L. Jackson's behind it, blah blah blah, and you make it shitty, like. Who wakes up
the ball rolling for us and they just put up a wall.
Yeah, just think it's going to make money automatically. I
think so. But guys, they removed it.
So there's currently a game on I think this has been out for PC for a while. I Am Bread. I mean,
Yeah.
Is that an MMO or some shit?
I Am Bread. No, you're a fucking
Or am I
slice
thinking
of
of
bread.
I'm thinking of
Slice
Goat
of bread.
Simulator. No, I'm thinking of Goat Simulator. There's an MMO spin-off thing for that. And a lot of people played it when it launched. I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
Oh yeah, I
Let's
know.
player
I know.
try and get
Let's make a game where you're a piece of bread. Mm.
it
Well,
worked. Got coverage.
Really?
Sold. It did. I remember it selling.
Yeah. Yeah, when I talk to Let's Players, a lot of Let's Players purposely look for bad games. And I talked to the guys who did the reverse side, which got removed from Steam because it was a scam. And I got a hold of one of their artists. And I was like, listen, you're a scam. Like, how would you ever think this was okay? And he was like, dude, Let's Players make us a couple, they pay for the game in like one day if it's bad. Because a lot of developers will just make a somewhat goofy, shitty game, Goat Simulator, because they know, Let's Players, Twitch will make it popular. And it's a complete thing.
Yeah,
It's a legitimate
It's
business
Technology in
act.
a way.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. I never thought of it that way.
Let's make
interesting.
a really crappy game.
Yeah. Screw YouTube. Make some, as I would say, hot garbage. Borrow the DC license and make some serious shit out of it.
It happens.
Yeah, it does. Ugh.
All right, boys. Is that it?
Is that all we got?
That's all we got, at least from what I have listed.
Anything from you, Lee?
Not particularly. I think we discussed main news of this week. Oh, I've been literally stuck at work, so and I'm currently just want to go sleep. To be honest, it's late, man. It's late.
I'm sorry for inviting you.
Nah, I'm really,
Motherfucker.
I'm really honoured.
Kidding. I'm pulling your leg.
No, I've been waiting to come on for a while, but oh mate, I'm so tired.
You get to wake up and
sure,
tell everyone about what you did. You had a wild night.
Yeah, what's the time in? Wait, in
6:41.
Where's Karak from?
3:41. I'm on the Pacific Coast.
Okay, so it's all right for you guys. I mean, I'm not usually up till this time these days, so.
Well, I appreciate it. You did good. It was
Yeah.
a blast having you on, man.
Yeah. Sounds like you've done this before, bro.
I actually have never ever done this before. No.
Yeah, you're a natural. Consider doing it.
Ah, thanks, man. Yeah. Very, 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 very obviously very nervous and stuff.
I couldn't even tell.
Yeah,
Not
definitely.
even just
Oh, that's
fucking
cool.
saying that.
That's cool. Cheers, man. No, I've been wanting to
Cheers.
come on for a while. I'll obviously.
I hope it was
gonna
worth
be-
it. Was it worth
It's
the
gonna
wait?
be. Yeah, of course, man. It's gonna be very, very
Okay,
weird
good.
to hear it back. On,
Yeah, you're not
on
gonna have.
Sunday.
Yeah, I know you say you listen every week. Now what the
Yeah,
fuck are
yeah,
you gonna
like
do with your
some-
Sunday?
I don't know, man. Just play games in silence.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Play
weird
Toy
because
Story 3,
yeah,
most likely.
yeah. Weirdly enough, I've been playing loads of PS2 games lately.
Oh, gotcha.
Do you ever play X-Men Legends 2? That's a good game. It's literally like Marvel Ultimate Alliance, but just X-Men.
Yeah,
Yep.
Cool game,
remember
cool
that.
game.
good games.
Yeah.
So yeah,
All right.
thanks for having me on, man.
Oh, of course, bro. Glad to have you on. And we want to thank the listeners for staying this long. It's been about, we had to split this up into a couple of recordings. So I think it's been about hour 40-ish minutes. Not sure.
Yes, something like that.
Nice,
But yeah,
nice meaty podcast.
If there's any, obviously, more people need to support the Patreon, then you can come on the podcast as well.
Oh, look at this guy doing it for me. I don't have to sound like
Well,
such a piece of shit.
Nah, I mean, there's, you know what I mean? There's
I appreciate it.
there's obviously a lot of people that want to come on other than me, and
And look at you.
it can happen to you. It can happen to you.
Staying up till like 1 or 2 a.m. for this. Clearly
No,
worth
it's not even that late. It's only 11:45, but I'm
Oh,
tired.
you're weak. You're weak.
I have to get up at tomorrow's not so bad, but I have to get up at 6 on a fucking Saturday, bro.
All right, bro. Well, then
So-
we won't keep you. So thank you, listeners, for staying this long. We hope you enjoyed. Lee, thank you
Definitely.
for joining us. Karak,
No
thank you.
worries,
Pleasure
man.
as always, bro.
See you guys.
Catch you guys next week.